Okay, and now for the final presentation of our seminar, we look at a project that touches on high protein nutrition. Please give a final warm welcome to Mr. Eylon Asido, who is working with Professor Tirosh from the Faculty of Agriculture. I think that you will present your project better than me and introduce the issue of what is the problem with the meat in the supermarket.
רק שנייה, just a minute. בוא נעשה את זה מהמצגת השנייה.
Trying to fix some technicalities.
Just a sec, yeah.
Okay, great.
Just a sec. And I need just to share it with the online, just. היינו צריכים את המצגת הלא מחוברת. אפשר. איפה אפשר למצגת שעכשיו פתוחה?
We have it? We have it.
Great.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to be here and present to you my work, which is also part of my PhD work. So it's kind of a setup to my thesis. This project is with supervision of Professor Tirosh here and Professor Tirosh, and of course our American partner, Professor David Gerard. And today I'm going to talk to you about presenting you our work that we conducted over the past 2 years, which deal with protecting against salt treatment, the deleterious effect of salt in muscle food, and we're going to talk about the antemortem and post-mortem treatment that we did. So let's dig in. First, I want to talk to you about the economic part of discoloring, why it is so important to protect it. So discoloring is when we see the loss of visual effect. We can all imagine that we go into the supermarket and we see dark, not red meat. We most likely don't want to buy it. And this loss of appearance is loss in consumer acceptance will go into increased food loss and the loss of high quality animal protein. Just to give you some numbering, in the US, only the beef industry, about $3 billion lost just to beef discoloration. So it's not just economic, of course, it's not just, it's about food loss, it's about economic loss. Here in Israel, most of our meat gets kosher. Kosher is, of course, the process which salt is being placed all over the meat. And we know that salt, most likely, almost all of our literature in meat products, salt is a pro-oxidant, meaning it enhances the oxidation, which I will later on explain what is lipid peroxidation, but we don't want this in meat. And salt is considered to be very strong pro-oxidant that we use in the food industry. So the conclusion from this is that the meat, in Israel, most of it will get more darkened, less red over a period of time of 1 week in retailers. So lipid peroxidation, why is it so important that we talk about lipid peroxidation? So lipid peroxidation, very in general, I'm not going to go into the biochemistry process, but it's when unsaturated fatty acid react with molecular oxygen via a free radical mediated pathway. Now, lipid peroxidation is considered to be one of the major contributors of reduction in sensory properties and the reduction in nutrient. So when we get this high lipid peroxidation, it in turn will decrease our consumer eating satisfaction and repeated purchases, which overall again would lead to greater food loss. So I hope I convince you we need to reduce lipid peroxidation and to improve our discoloring occur within salt treatment. So we need to take very careful approach in all stages of handling. So again, the connection, salt being a pro-oxidant and get into discoloring, dark meat, elevated lipid peroxidation, and lipid peroxidation in turn is believed, I'll give you a hint, is believed to be one of the major contributors to deterioration of meat quality. So overall, this would lead us to give us our general aim in this project. We want to improve the color stability of fresh meat, of beef meat, to make it more resistant towards salt treatment, and this will be done by here, right? Via a antioxidant supplementation, vitamin E supplementation. This is our antemortem treatment, and our novel solution, preconditioning solution that I will further elaborate on, will be our postmortem treatment. So let's dig in. We had two supplementation experiments. Our first one, as we went for it, is to trying to determine what is the most efficient concentration of vitamin E. Vitamin E being a very potent antioxidant. And we try to determine what is the most efficient concentration of vitamin E to be administered to cattle to lower down the discoloration occurring from salt treatment and lowering down the lipid peroxidation levels. So first, what is the optimal duration? What's the optimal concentration? Sorry. What is the experimental design that we did? We had 3 groups of cattle, which we administered them with different vitamin E concentration. You can see the table on your right. And during that time, with interval timing, we quantify the vitamin E levels within the red blood cell. And after 16 days of supplementation, we evaluated various parameters of meat quality, the vitamin E in the muscle, lipid peroxidation, and color loss during a week of storage with and without salt treatment as conventional kosher process. So let's dig into the results. Here you can see on graph A are the vitamin E concentration within the red blood cell. So you can see throughout the feeding duration. So you can see at the beginning, there was no statistical differences among the groups. And when we got along with the experiment, we can see that the high dose group, I remind you, the high dose and medium received, of course, the highest vitamin E concentration, were significantly higher compared to the control as the vitamin E within the red blood cell at the beginning of our 16 days. What do we see in the muscle? So in day 0, we can see like a slight correlation between the vitamin E within the red blood cell and the muscle. So we can see that both of our group, medium and high, show the highest amount of vitamin E compared to the control. Overall, we did good. We're able to elevate the vitamin E within the muscle. What do we see when we're not applying salt, we're not koshering the meat? We can see there's no statistical change, no visible change within the vitamin E levels. But when we add the stressor, the salt, koshering process as usual, we can see that there was a decrease overall in all of the groups, but the high and medium showed the least resistance towards this stressful component. What do we see about lipid peroxidation? Now you can see we express lipid peroxidation as malondialdehyde. You can see on the y-axis, which is a very common biomarker that we use to quantify lipid peroxidation. So you can see when we're not applying salt in all of our groups, no change. But when we apply salt on graph B, you can see with salt, we can see that only the control group that was supplemented the least amount of vitamin E showed the highest MDA elevation, while the high and medium shows significant no change whatsoever. So as far as lipid peroxidation, we got it. What do we see about this coloring? So here there's several parameters to be tested on this coloring. The A value represents the redness of the sample. So here we chose to show you what happened to the redness of the meat. So on day 0, we see some changes, but not too significant among the groups. When we don't apply salt, no visible change among color, and we apply salt, the highest stability, the highest resistance showed within the high dose group, showed the most red color after 7 weeks of storage. With that, we go into our second supplementation experiment, and we wanted to see if we take this high dose that work very great on different parameters that we check, and we want to see what is the optimal duration to the concentration, what is the optimal duration that we need to apply to get those maximal results that we received earlier. So this is the experimental design. We had 2 groups. The experiment was conducted for over 40 days period of time, and within days 10, 25, and 45 cattle, along with blood sampling, We also slaughter them, and we evaluated with each time point what are the different parameters of meat quality. What is the situation here? And only on day 40, we also slaughtered the other 5 cattle to compare the results. What do we see? Again, on graph A, you can see on your left is the vitamin E within the red blood cell. So you can see even after 10 days of supplementation, there is also a high increase in vitamin E concentration. And this tendency goes throughout 40 days with the highest amount after 40 days of supplementing. Compared to the control that show no significant change from the initial supplementation. Again, in the muscle, we see some visible correlation between the red blood cell and the vitamin E within the muscle. You can see on graph B on day 0. When no salt is applied, again, no stressor, no change. Salt is applied, you see like a dose-dependent manner as far as supplementation time and the vitamin E levels. So we see a visible correlation between the supplementation time and the muscle vitamin E after 1 week of storage with our stressor. Again, similar picture in the lipid peroxidation level from our previous experiment. We see that with no salt, no change, but again, after 40 days of supplementation, here we see the least amount, even without salt, the least amount of MDA levels of lipid peroxidation. And when we add our salt after 7 days, we see that the control group showed the highest amount of MDA levels with, again, absolutely protection. Even after 10 days of supplementation, we see the protection here. But again, the 40 days supplementation showed the highest protection. What about the discoloring here, as opposed to what we saw in the early experiment? We see that the initial levels have also changed the levels. We see higher A value, more redness in our meats, even after 10 days compared to the control. This tendency goes on after 7 days without salt, and again after 7 days with salt or 40 days supplementation show the highest protection against this discoloration. There's more than meets the eye. It's not a typewriter because, as I told you, most likely what is known that lipid peroxidation is more considered to be a major contributor to discoloring. So we see within the experiment correlation, we see that there is a very good correlation with the vitamin E and MDA levels, as you can see on your left. But there is no correlation when we see this vitamin E concentration and color and discoloration. Meaning there could be more players to this game of discoloring that is not dependent on this antioxidant capacity. And with this result, we go into our post-mortem treatment. We wanted to see and wanted to investigate some various compounds with the ability to prevent the discoloring without interfering with the culturing process. So with that, we investigated 15 different compounds. I would say that those compounds were tested with different concentration, different pHs. So it's 15 compounds on the paper. And we found 2 leading components that I will further tell you later that maintain this discoloration induced by salt treatment while maintaining a clean label approach. Because of course, we know that the trend for consumers is one of the major factors is clean label. How and what are these compounds? The first one, of course, you all know ascorbic acid, which been used specifically when we are dealing with curved meat, which is used to stabilize meat color, pH regulator, etc. And we see here, and I'm giving you a little bit of a hint, we see that the mechanism for vitamin C is by reducing capacity, of course, and also preventing the formation of all sorts of nitrate compounds. The other compounds, the component that we use is sodium metabisulfite, which is used mostly in the wine and beer industry, also as color stabilizer. And also the mechanism, hint, is the reductive decomposition of nitrate. So trying to very subtle to tell you what we're looking for after. So what is the experimental design? We took meat from the supermarket, which was unkosher, and incubated with our preconditioning solution, or water, of course, as the control, only for 15 minutes, not a long period of time. After that, this is also the part of the conventional koshering process, which is 30 minutes soaking within water, followed by 16 minutes of coarse salt placing. This is conventional koshering process. Of course, our control was only water here in the 15 minutes and just room temperature exposure. What do we see? We see that when we are using our preconditioning solution, we see here, this is the salt treatment. We see that both of this graph, the sodium metabisulfate and ascorbic acid, has major protection against the discoloring of salt. This is, of course, without salt, we see a great no differences. This is after 7 days of storage, we didn't say. Now here we added nitrate as another control because, as you all know, nitrate has been used in curved meat, both as antimicrobial agent and lipid peroxidation, antilipid agent. This is our meats. This is salt meat after 7 days of storage. No appetizing here at all. And here, these two on your right, this is the exact picture of the protection against this deleterious effect. Okay, what do we see about mitigating lipid peroxidation? We see excellent protection with our preconditioning solution. Now, for our surprise, nitrate, while didn't have a great effect on the least amount, say, on color, showed the least amount of MDA levels. So this brought us to our paradox. This is meat, pre-exposure to only 15 minutes of nitrate, and this is after 15 minutes. Just after 15 minutes, we see a very dark meat. So this brought us, okay, we see this discoloration and the least amount of lipid peroxidation. What is the mechanism? This is the paradox. Again, what we've concluded so far, we see that salt exposure caused discoloration. We see that nitrate caused immediate discoloration. So our hypotheses are that salt may increase nitrate concentration by altering the degradation process towards nitrate production. I'm not going to bore you with the biochemistry, but it will lead to mostly nitrate production. With that, no mechanism, very briefly, lipid peroxidation will get us to methmyoglobin, and you see this dark meat. But we hypothesize that salt can alter the degradation of nitroso-thiolase compounds into getting us more nitrate within the meat surface, and in turn will get us to this coloring meat. This is such an image of a review published this year. We've shown that nitrate can stabilize via a oxygen or nitrogen this methmyoglobin compound. And overall, this will lead to meat discoloration. So with that, we did our own experiment trying to find out. We used NACSNO, which is acylated amino acid nitroso-thiolase, re-exposure to 10% of salt, and we measured the stability of NACSNO and the nitrate quantification. We see here on graph A that the NACSNO had higher stability when exposed to salt, meaning again this altered the mechanism towards nitrate production stability and alter it. Instead of going into nitrogen, it goes to NO and then nitrate production. So we see here that the exposure of salt has increased the nitrate production. So this will lead us, when we conclude everything as far as from the supplementation experiment, this has led us to find out that the high dose of vitamin E, as we established earlier, elevate the redness of the meat sample, lower down lipid peroxidation levels. We found that our novel preconditioning solution against protected as again discoloring. This is of course concentration that have never been used in our solutions, while maintaining a clean label and without interfering with the kosher process. And it's led us to conclude that salt promotes this nitrate elevation and may be another probable player that need to be addressed to prevent this discoloration in meat. And we only a suggestion, guys. By applying this antemortem and postmortem treatment, overall, this would lead us to more customer acceptance, less meat loss, healthier meat, and prolonged shelf life. Thank you very much. I would like to thank Professor Tirosh. I would like to thank also Professor Tirosh from the faculty and our American associate from Virginia Tech, Professor David Gerard, and of course, BARD for the support in all of our work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eylon. There's any question here? Can we bring the company point of view?
He couldn't come.
Our company.
How much they were involved in the project?
They were involved with basically helping us with all the nutritional supplementation experiments. With vitamin E, with the high dose vitamin E. I discussed with them about continuation, and they said that they probably won't take it further, and they will let us go with another company or find somebody else to promote these novel preconditioning solutions that are basically it's kind of a magic. You treat it before the culturing, and then you preserve it even after 7 days of storage, the coloring of the meat. And we are now in a negotiation with another company to move forward with this project.
Thank you very much. Yes.
It's protected by something that you will be able to commercialize this. This is IP because it's a protocol that you add vitamin E, I understand, and then everybody can do it, no?
He wants to answer.
No, you want to answer?
Yeah, is the TTO of the Hebrew University.
As from a patenting perspective, you can patent it, but there is a possibility that somebody will do it. You're never going to know. So it could be problematic, but there's ways of trying to protect it. Yeah.
No, until now we are only implemented it in the lab. The idea is that when you treat the surface, the meat with the preconditioning solutions, you eventually will get a decrease in the nitrite surface levels. And then you can, we are now moving ahead to analyzing this with Raman spectroscopy on the surface. And then you can easily, you can patent it as a different kind of compounds that decrease the nitrite surface levels. So anybody that can want to have a product which is protected and it's long lasting, like for treating with preconditioning solution, we'll have a problem to demonstrate that it still has nitrite and it didn't, for example, override our patent. So it's not so difficult to protect such a patent, and basically this is a huge market, and also get better meat products eventually that are not losing the color of treatment or exposing to light or other kind of stressors that then increase the nitrate levels in the surface of the meat.
Thank you very much. Any questions from abroad? So if there's no question there, thank you very much, everyone. Keep up with the good work.
Thank you.
There is a future there, and we are watching you from BARD, okay? Because we have plenty of other tracks of application probably to support your future career. Excellent work. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much. And with that, we concluded our full presentation. Thank you again for sharing your work with us. Have a good evening or a good rest of the day, wherever you are. And we hope to see you again in our next showcase event. Just to those who actually came a little bit later, I would like to let you know that each of the projects that will be on the food and nutrition will have a stage here to present their finding. And in the future, if it will allow and the TTOs will permit, we are planning to bring some companies to this event. Maybe they will express interest in taking this project further. So again, thank you very much. And we hope, or we wish good success to the scientists. And we would like to thank the people abroad to be with us. I'm apologizing for the technical issues that we had in the beginning, and apologizing for the vegan people in the audience that we had to finish that session with the meat and the problem with the meat. And I wish you all a pleasant evening here in Israel, and hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.